Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful individuals. You best believe it's another epi of League Unlocked. It's Eric, Mark here with you fine folks, and yes, it is, I'm gonna call it a barn burner of a global power rankings this week because we've got massive sweeps up and down on the board. Some surprise teams have been popping off lately, and some perennial title contenders have been mired in some deep slumps.
It feels like playing a board game and then someone trips over it and you got to reset all the pieces back on the board. You don't even think, oh, who's got a property here? Who is over here?
Wait, you didn't
all
have that. You're not supposed to be.
Yeah, that's how crazy this week's power rankings for the global situation is going to be. Big time moving and shaking around these positions. Wasting no more time. We want to dive right in right now.
And before we get into all the sweeping moves, first we got a squad making their season debut on the list, and we gotta give a shout out, acknowledge to Team Heretics and what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks in the LEC.
There's no way anybody, even anyone on the Heretics staff, could have predicted that you'd be in this type of situation at this point in the year right now, finding yourself breaking through into the global power rankings. And yes, a deserved recognition for what they've been going through, how they've developed, how they've grown through this split, and just how dangerous they can be as an opponent on the other side of the rift.
Can they go higher than this? This feels like it should be their ceiling for the LEC, but who knows? Maybe they can surprise even more with some of these rookies because the vibes within the team seem absolutely immaculate. Team Liquid, business, takes care of business. They get a little bump up. Obviously, 100 Thieves with the rough loss. They are ousted from this top 20, probably hanging in that 21 area. FPX doesn't move on the day. Then we get to our first big drop of the week, and that is G2 eSports. Losing to Fnatic is one thing. Even if you get completely slammed in that game 3, losing to Giant X is another beast entirely.
Yeah, the alarms are really ringing off for that one with G2. Again, a situation we talk about relatively frequently, it seems like, with G2, to talk about a slump and trying to cipher out whether this is actually them on a downward trend, the rest of the LEC rising, whatever it is, time to find the mixture. Is G2 going to bounce back? That is really the end of the day type of question that you're looking at with this. And I think, yes, the answer is they will bounce back. Are they going to have to really climb up that ladder, really put themselves in a position that's going to be dangerous? Keep sliding like this. Keep having caps, not having a signature level of performance. You're going to see G2 continue to slide down.
Keep having squads like Movistar Koi play at a high level, compete against Fnatic, and get business, take care of business against the weaker teams in the LEC. And yes, you are hovering around the panic button for G2. Obviously, still going to wait for those playoffs. No squad on this list gives you neck issues more than Invictus Gaming because it is a constant whiplash of this team looking like they could win the whole split and looking like they couldn't win a best of 5 against Thunder Talk. Most recently, it's back-to-back series losses to Weibo Gaming, and both of them really in the decisive game 3s. They weren't close.
Yeah, at least there's some credit needs to be paid into those matches that you are getting to those decisive game 3 type of matches. But it really isn't close in those game 3s is the problem that you really need to examine with IG. You're right. There is no better description for them than that whiplash, that neck injury situation, because it is being whipped aside. Good, bad, all the time with this team. The inconsistency in the star players of the Shy and Rookie, that really is where you're having this type of fluctuation for the team. If both of them are able to find a better level of form, a more stable form of contribution, and not really costing the team so much, you're looking at the reliability of the bottom lane with Gala and Mako being what I think can push this team to a higher level in the OPL. Right now, stuck with inconsistency.
And when you zoom in deeper to IG, the whiplash, of course, applies directly to the Shy in the top lane. You've got him juking on Rumble to turn around 2v2 player dives and then winning a game for IG. And then you've got him getting solo killed at level 4 in a Renekton Gnar matchup. And that is a real skill to happen.
he represents the biggest dilemma of a player that we have within League of Legends, and there are comparable to traditional sports, other esports, where you have someone that is so capable, so skilled to make the impossible possible, yet you see that there are so many inconsistencies within that level of performance and mistakes that are made. And it's one of these questions of, you're so good, you're able to pull off the plays that no one can pull off. What if we just shore up all the plays that everybody else can make, where you're a little bit more secure in those avenues? It's the story as old as time with the Shy. If they're able to find that type of form for him, again, watch out for a team like IG. If they continue to have him be inconsistent like this, if Rookie is not able to be a more solid option in that mid lane as well, you're going to have IG floundering around here.
It's at the point where once you see the Shy make a great outplay, I'm sitting there waiting for him to die for no reason or teleport into 5 people and even it out.
It's the left foot, and then, oh, where's the right foot for the next step, right? One of them is always going to be that outplay, and the next one is going to be throwing it right back to them. Sometimes that next step isn't taken until the next game, and that's okay. Sometimes it's the very next play with the Shy, and that is a problem for Invictus.
And that next step usually kicks into a tree root and has him falling flat on his face, seems to be the theme. That's a theme for the other big drop on this board, another LPL squad in... I think BLG now at a 4-5 record, that's got to be more series losses than they've had in the last year and a half combined, at least domestically within the LPL. Latest victims, FPX and Weibo. It's not even the top contenders that we're accustomed to in the LPL, and they look rough. They don't look like they're on the same page. Wei is still borderline inting in some of these fights, and the team fighting prowess that we're accustomed to seeing from them last year, where is it? Where is it?
They're broken. They are broken. BLG is not the same BLG that we have known them to be, that titan of the LPL. There is something functionally not going right within this group, within the coaching staff, everything else, the preparation. It's not there to see this BLG team at an elite level. You laid it out individually. You can point a specific finger, I think, at Wei and his performances. Sure, is one of the, maybe the harshest way to go about finding the individual problem. But I think there's a lot more going wrong with this BLG team. When you have players like Knight, when you have Bin, when you've got Elk, you have to find a way to have the damage necessary, the skill, the killer instinct to be the winner on the day. BLG not showing it, doesn't matter. Low level, high level competition in the LPL. They are struggling. It is straight up. BLG ain't playing League of Legends. They're playing Fortnite. They left the bus. It's the free fall down. Didn't even thank the bus driver. It is GG easy.
It feels like they were just riding a wave of fear. Last year in the LPL, teams matching up against them, it was like an inherent debuff to go against them because you see the nameplates. Oh my God, these guys are so good. We really need to play best or go for these over-the-top plays to even have a chance. Teams aren't scared now. You think FPX looks scared of BLG in that matchup? No.
No, nobody is scared of this BLG right now in the way that they are preparing, the way they're showing up for these games. It's being backed up that you don't need to be as scared of them. They are not this titanic monster that they have been the last year or two. Can they get back to being a power player, being someone that is in that consideration in the LPL, even if at this point, you're reaching at straws to try and talk about them as a dark horse in the LPL playoffs? I still think there's time and room for them to be able to prove that. But right now, it is absolutely, as I said, that Fortnite free falling from the battle bus. It ain't looking good.
They're now behind a squad like FlyQuest who dismantle 100 Thieves 2-0. They get a nice little bump up one spot, and they're at least ahead of them. T1 is lucky that they got that few steps up to take down D+ before they took a step onto the next board, and it completely snapped under their feet to lose to the Bros. They still get knocked out of the top 10, but barely hold on. And yeah, we're now at a state where hypothetically you throw T1 FlyQuest in a best of. FlyQuest could win against this current T1 form.
What a crazy world that we are in, that we have both T1 and BLG outside the top 10 right now in this situation. Nobody would have predicted that it would go this type of sideways for both of these organizations in so many different ways. T1, you're right. Pretty much at this point, it is one of these ones where you would give FlyQuest a chance, a life in this situation in a best of against T1. even knowing the demons that T1 can bring out in a best of type of scenario, struggling against the bros and dropping that one. The rest of the picture of the LCK, D plus recently losing to Nongshim, not necessarily, it kind of changes just how much you were going to give T1 in that victory against D plus Kia. Changes the whole picture of how you're evaluating things.
It's a big uphill battle to get back into that contention and hopefully top 5 status for both BLG and T1. On the opposite side, squad you just alluded to, D plus, they're now the guys scraping by the fingernails, holding into that top 10 because all of a sudden they're mired in a 3-game losing streak. And both the T1 series and the Hanwha Life, you said, okay, there's angles. They're clearly competing with these top dogs in the LCK. Then they match up against Nongshim, who they're supposed to be the gatekeepers. Keep them outside of that top 4. Nongshim kicked the door down on D plus and said, this is our era now.
Yeah, Nongshim said, FBI, open up. We're coming in, whether you like it or not at this point. And they stormed into the D plus Kia compound and taken anything that they wanted. Yes, somewhat of a pushback here from D plus in this series to talk about, but it really is the triumph of Nongshim on the day that gets the recognition. And it's one of these ones where it does lower down D plus Kia into this type of zone, into this, just clinging into this top 10 area because of this performance there, and where you do expect that you should be better than a Nongshim. You have to find a way, as we talked about, if you want to be one of these elite members of the LCK, you need to be not only beating up the bottom teams, but you need to be almost a sure thing, even against that playoff bubble tier, like a squad like Nongshim was. D plus Kia not able to find it on the day.
And listen, I think because of the format of the LCK Cup, Nongshim finishing top 4, everyone was like, yeah, but T1 and Hanwha drew each other earlier. It was a joke, a fluke that they were this far. They're proving that it was not a fluke how far they finished in that first split, and they're proving that Calyx, as a rookie, has hit the ground running, and this dude does not look anything like a rookie, and he has brought Nongshim to another level than they even were last split.
And these are the type of outliers, the unexpected things that are necessary for a team like Nongshim to really shake the tree, to really shake up the established order of the LCK. Having Calyx, again, as you said, hit the ground running. It hasn't been, okay, there's some learning, it really has just been instantly, okay, I'm here to do business. I'm here to really drive my team type of thing. Getting the support from the other veteran members of this Nongshim team has put them in this type of position where you are really talking about them climbing up and continuing to carve out a higher than expected place within the LCK echelon.
One player making a huge difference is a theme on this part of the board, because Weibo Gaming also soaring up into the top 10. Obviously, Erha coming in as a support has somehow lifted up and made all the other players play at another level, because Tien over the last couple of weeks has been racking up MVPs. Breathe, we already mentioned, is styling on the shy. Back-to-back-to-back series, Weibo has taken down IG twice and throw in a big win against BLG, where, again, the series against BLG was pretty dominant on the side of Weibo.
Weibo Gaming, here they are making the charge up the LPL right now, and it feels pretty darn exciting to talk about them. I love you mention Tien in this one, because it's kind of crazy that you have a swapping of players like we had this past off season in the LPL. Tien moving over from top eSports, Kanavi moving to top eSports in this situation, swapping places, and having both teams find success and be really happy with those changes that have gone through. And really the angle for Weibo was, of course, Tien. I don't think anybody is better in the LPL at counter engages from that jungle position, always knowing exactly just what to wait for as far as your ability to be used and how you're going to go about it and be there on time to counteract and really punish you in that situation. You saw it here. You saw it fantastic on the Skarner. No better champion to be on if you want to be taking that type of role for Tien. Good stuff for Weibo Gaming.
And we follow the theme of Tien so quickly developing incredible synergy with his mid laners. You can go back, obviously him and Doom B were an absolute terror at times. With Knight on top esports, even Cream, this guy quickly plays to his solo lanes, whatever their strengths are, and we're seeing that. case in point as Weibo climbs their way up this board. Last two teams on here, a couple Western squads. Cloud9, another dominant 2-0. If you look at Cloud9's numbers so far in this second split, they're at the top of the table in terms of all major regions for many of the categories, but really both them and Fnatic climbing a little bit this week is also a result of squads like BLG, T1, D+, tumbling outside of that top 10.
Capitalizing on the movement, on the instability of these top tier teams within the global power rankings are our Western representatives in Cloud9 and Fnatic, and I think it's important to talk about them. With Cloud9, the situation being, I don't think it could have gone any better for Cloud9 than the way things have gone out this year. It is exactly as you would have dreamed it up as far as the continued development of Thanatos in the top side, Loki and his immediate development and progression as far as being in the mid lane for Cloud9, and then the veterans that you have with this team, and Blabber in the jungle, Sven and Vulcan in the bottom lane, really helping shore things up, keeping that energy, keeping that focus driven forward in these matches. You love to see that from Cloud9. And for Fnatic, they get that head-to-head that we always love to talk about against G2, but still it's one of these ones where you're going to be rewarded, yes, and you're going to hold a position like this. But in order to keep a position like this, the mandate is beating a G2, is beating a Carmine Corp in the playoffs and having a significant performance. So keep an eye on Fnatic as we move through the rest of the LEC in that regard.
Yeah, and anytime being this high on the list, it's razor thin your margins for other teams taking the spot. I know they lost that series to Movistar Koi, but a single Nexus auto is basically a coin flip from them actually winning that series and having yet another 2-0 weekend. On to the top 5 we roll, where even here the chaos is continuing in the top 5 as JDG makes their return to that 5 spot. They beat Anyone's Legend convincingly 2-0, and then they have a competitive series against Top Esports. We still, based on all the other series, AL is enough to stay ahead of them, but JDG has immediately slammed that gap between them.
He jumped right back in. Pays is at the door, and he goes, this was my wallet that had my VIP card in it from the Gen G days. Now you recognize me. Welcome on back.
He had the fanny pack before. He had to bring the wallet.
Classic mix up here, but he gets back in the VIP with his boys. And yes, you laid it out. Some big series wins for JDG to punch their ticket back into this top 5. Not necessarily enough of a situation in that loss for Anyone's Legend that you want to take them outside of the top 5. You feel pretty comfortable with them there, but certainly not going to be having them leapfrog any of these other guys that we still have within this top 5, within the top 3 of the global power rankings.
And I mean, it's going to be hard for them to usurp Top Esports right now. By the way, they hand out their weekly awards for every position in the LPL. Kanavi has been the jungler of the week all 4 weeks, and he has 5 more MVPs than anyone else in the league right now.
And then I'm glad we get to talk about this because it is unfair, because this is the other side of that transaction, that swap that we were talking about, Tian being a perfect fit for Weibo Gaming. Well, Kanavi is the perfect fit for Top Esports to take him to that next level, to push that aggression and killer instinct out there on the Rift. And we have seen that week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 from Kanavi to start out this split. It has been relentless from him. Tian is wondering, what the heck do I gotta do to get one of these junglers of the week thing? It's just Kanavi's world, what he's doing and how he's performing out there for this Top Esports team, taking them, pushing them to the next level. 369 playing well. These are all things that you love to see from Top Esports. And again, feeling great, praising them, throwing it all on here with that little asterisk that this is Top Esports domestic. I want to feel a little bit different, and I need to see a couple of extra results if we're talking about Top Esports international.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be a caveat, assuming there are one of the LPL squads that will represent at the midseason invitational. I think everyone is going to have that breath of hesitation for them matching up. Specifically, usually it's just the LCK you're worried about, but we've seen them drop some duds against Western squads as well. So yeah, they're going to have to prove themselves internationally before you fully get confidence in them. Even at the top of the table, we got a little bit of movement, putting Hanwha ahead of Gen G. And listen, let's be honest, these two are still so far ahead of even Top Esports right now. This isn't a punishment for Gen G going down to the 2 spot. They haven't dropped the series yet. They've only dropped 3 games all split. It just feels like, even though Gen G won that head-to-head, which feels like years ago now in week 1, right now, I'm a little bit more scared of matching up against Hanwha. But that's no shade on Gen G.
It really is almost a situation where Gen G hasn't done anything wrong. You've seen them still continue to be the excellent team, still be
They're
that
terrifying.
team you love. Went over it yesterday, going over the insane numbers from Chovy individually that he's on this run right now. 6 different champions, 7 games, 43, 0 and 60, something along those lines, 129 KDA. It has been fantastic. Almost perfect for Gen G. The only problem for them is when you look at Hanwha Life and realize that Hanwha Life had somewhere to gain and grow this split type of situation where it's only been the fantastic, only been perfect from Gen G, so you don't punish them, but it really feels like you're getting that extra cherry for Hanwha Life because you've seen them grow. You've seen them get stronger week after week, game after game, to evolve into that top tier, powerful, perfect team alongside a Gen G. So this isn't really supposed to be a negative, hey, they're better than you, it's one or the other type of situation. It really is just more so the way things have played out, where Hanwha Life gets that little bit of an extra cherry from seeing them continually improve compared to where Gen G has just been perfect right out of the gate.
And it's, again, kind of looking at, if you are drawing a team internationally, which team are you most terrified to see on that card? And right now, for me, it's Hanwha Life, and I think we've seen them win games in multiple styles, whether it's an absolute bloodbath or 6 kills at 30 minutes and they somehow have a 10k gold lead, and maybe the slight edge, reason why I give Hanwha over Gen G is maybe the bot lane. I'm that much more terrified of Viper right now than Ruler.
That's fair, because when you're looking at both of these teams, you're looking at that overwhelming success in the numbers that I'm talking about with Chovy, but it's not really backed up by anybody else having an outlying type of stat line, numbers, situation type of thing for Gen G. And then you turn the page to the bottom lane, as you said. I think Ruler, we still haven't quite had any of these signature Ruler is back type of moments for Gen G in the bottom lane.
Both of these squads, though, make no mistake, absolutely terrifying a prospect for anyone to match up in the world. But that is it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you, beauties. Thanks for supporting. As always, we will catch you on that flippity flip.